Has pulled an ad that some people think romanticized slavery.
In the realm of ancestry's exploration, these issues undergo a large societal challenge: the manipulation of historical narratives, reinforcement of racial stereotypes, and the commodification of personal and cultural histories, all at the expense of truth and exclusivity. Welcome to Travel Kultur, where we explore all things related to culture, travel, and adventure. Today, we're diving into the world of culture, specifically through the lens of Ancestry.com. Now, as a trained anthropologist, I'm all about diving into human behavior, society, languages, and our past. But today's focus is on a fascinating article I found. It's about Ancestry.com and the profound impact it has on understanding of culture and identity. In this piece, Anthropology.com Race Stories, examining whiteness on the genealogical website by Anna Robinson-Sweed, there's some eye-opening revelations about the company I just had to share with you all. It's surprising that despite the wealth of information on YouTube, there's a lack of discussion about the deep aspects of Ancestry.com as a company and what it means for culture and society. Shall we dive in together? Robinson-Sweed's article sheds light on some critical points that challenge the way we view culture identity on this genealogical platform.
18 million people have taken genetic ancestry tests through company's subsidiary, Ancestry Myth. This article interrogates how Ancestry presents information on race and ethnicity to users, asking if it is possible for researchers to build a critical racial identity using Ancestry's service.
As an anthropologist passionate about culture and identity, I dived into Anthropology.com hoping to understand my heritage at one point. Yet, what I discovered was a complex web of narrative, biases, and omissions that challenged the very essence of how we perceive ourselves and others.
These customers have turned to a company to help them understand who they are, with a subscription fee of $25 USD a month to access Ancestry's databases, which consist of digitized documents from libraries and archives, or a one-time cost of 99 United States dollars for a genetic test. Ancestry will tell you the story of your past, presented in an interactive family tree or a pie chart displaying ethnic percentages.
Ancestry DNA, a subcategory of Ancestry.com, has engaged millions offering family history narratives through pie charts and interactive family trees. However, it raises crucial questions about construction of racial identities using these services.
A closer look at the business's marketing initiatives, web features, and products such as Ancestry Myth reveals a company selling customers family history narratives that comport with the mythology of American egalitarianism, while at the same time essentializing race and ethnicity as the means by which millions of people access material held by archives and libraries. I argue that information professionals should be at the forefront of scrutinizing Ancestry and its practices.
The platform's selective presentation of ethnicity through collective records and marketing strategies perpetuates an American myth while simplifying complex racial identities. Ancestry's portrayal of history often glosses over critical events like slavery, hiding the truth behind ancestral wealth and disregarding the impact that wealth has on the life stories that Ancestry fails to tell.
The featured historical events are based primarily on geographic information, and there is no ability for users to add their own historical insights or even browse the available options, without transparency as to how Ancestry constructs the life story for a person. I wondered if and how race, one of the only pieces of information consistently reported on census records, impacts the narrative. In 2019, Ancestry changed its search capabilities so that the slave schedules no longer appeared in search results. Genealogists now had to navigate to the slave schedules in order to search them. As Adam H. Dombey 2019 writes, this change to the search function means that someone searching for ancestors might discover a wealthy progenitor with no record of the foundations of that wealth, making it all too easy to claim, as many privileged white American families do, that their individual family earned its fortunes outside of slavery despite the central role slavery had in shaping the nation's politics, economics, culture, and society. On the contrary, researching and revealing ties between white ancestors and slavery is crucial to recognizing how intergenerational was built on the profits of black bondage, and even for those post-Civil War immigrants who could play no historical role in American slavery, race had an impact on their life stories that Ancestry fails to tell.
Ancestry.com has pulled an ad that some people think romanticized slavery.
Abigail, we can escape to the north. There's a place we can be together. Across the border. Will you leave with me?
It went viral, but it has left a lot of people with questions.
Ancestry's storybook Remembering of History is voiced in their marketing. Ancestry's reimagining of interracial relations in the era of slavery is made all the more horrific by the historical truth that black women were often their white owners, and that the very nature of enslavement precluded consent. The impossibility of the scenario in Ancestry's advertisement was proven when it was demonstrated that the marriage certificate shown at the end of the advertisement was fabricated. Domby, 2019. Yet Ancestry gives these users no way for easily indicating this difficult history or for linking their trees to the white families with which they share a common ancestor. In lieu of such a capability, black users often add the word enslaver or slaver to the names of these ancestors.
Moreover, the company's partnership, like the one with archivers, which still stirs ethical debates, raising concerns about the appropriation of sensitive public records for profit.
These agreements stipulate the terms for a partnership that is seen as beneficial to both parties. Ancestry digitizes records held by NARA in exchange for a 5-year embargo period on providing access to these records. During that -1 year period, records digitized by Ancestry are only available on their website and on-site at NARA facilities. NARA 2015. While partnerships with Ancestry have provided online access to millions of records at little or no cost to archival institutions, archives have also surrendered their ability to provide context for those records to the millions of users who access them through Ancestry and other similar websites.
Ancestry's genetic testing, presented as precise and definitive, distorts the truth by relying on a limited resource panel and promoting the illusion of genetic markers for ethnicity, which science refutes. This has real implications, as seen when individuals alter their racial identification on census forms after receiving test results.
In a study of how genetic ancestry test takers' identities changed after receiving their results, Wendy Roth and Byron Ivemark 2018 found that over half of participants who previously identified as only white changed their ethnic or racial identity in some way after doing a genetic ancestry test of this group. Most of them changed how they self-identified on the census, yet Ancestry gives these users no way for easily indicating this difficult history or for linking their trees to the white families with which they share a common ancestor. In lieu of such a capability, black users often add the word enslaver or slaver to the names of these ancestors. Men share 99.9% of the same genetic makeup, with a greater amount of genetic difference occurring intragroup than between people of different racial or ethnic groups. That 1% of genetic difference is parsed by different genetic testing companies in various ways, but the bottom line is, as stated in an article in Science, there is no clear-cut connection between an individual's DNA and his or her racial or ethnic affiliation. Bolnick et al. 2007 p. 400. According to the documentation on Ancestry DNA's website, their test compares the customer's DNA to the DNA of people in a reference panel, a proprietary database of DNA samples representing different ethnicities and regions of the world. In order to be included in the reference panel, people need two things: a paper trail that proves their family history and DNA confirmation of their ethnicity. Opening parenthesis Ancestry.com, Ancestry in the reference panel. Additionally, inclusion in the reference panel is predicated on a paper trail documenting family origins in a given region, a requirement which would seemingly discount itinerant peoples, those without written traditions, and groups whose documents have been destroyed through war, poverty, and oppression, rather than repairing painful holes in the archival record, as it claims to do. Ancestry risks reinforcing these absences through giving genetic value to only those who can prove, based on Western documentary standards, their right to represent an ethnicity.
The problematic issues shifts to Blackstone, a private equity firm, further intensifies worries about privacy and the potential misuse of genetic data.
The acquisition of Ancestry came as Blackstone, the world's largest real estate owner, moved into the life sciences, spending more than $1 billion USD in 2020 to invest in drugs for high cholesterol, kidney disease, and devices for people with diabetes. Perlberg, 2020, owning the largest genetic database in the country, gave Blackstone a backstage pass to health information for millions of Ancestry users.
The acquisition amplifies concerns of a de facto national DNA database and its implications for law enforcement access.
As news about these techniques emerged, ethical questions about the use of genetic ancestry test results came to the former. In 2018, Kennett, 2019, access to genealogy databases puts the genetic information of millions of Americans, most of whom have never committed a serious crime, into the hands of law enforcement. On the contrary, prisons and jails in the US have always been used as a means of enforcing class hierarchy and white supremacy. In the words of geographer Ruth Wilson Gilmore, prisons arose first to discipline people to the wage, particularly immigrants and non-whites. Intercepted, 2020. Descriptions of prison record groups on Ancestry provide none of this context, serving to carry the criminalization and dehumanization of marginalized communities into the present day. today.
Amidst these controversies, Ancestry's control over historical information, censorship of biographical details, and the commodification of cultural heritage through its database comes into sharp focus. The company's practice risks erasing critical perspectives and perpetuating biased narratives in the guise of individual freedom.
While other countries have similarly sought to increase public access to archives through digitization, they have done so through increased governmental funding and community empowerment. In the US, as Noah Lenstra 2010 puts it, the solution has been a commodification of our cultural heritage, in fact, by outsourcing the demand for online access to public records to companies such as Ancestry. Institutions like NARA are sacrificing an opportunity to seek increased public funding. Benson, 2008, as Sofia Omoya Noble 2018, writes in her book on racial bias in Google's search algorithms.
Through this analysis, it's evident that Ancestry.com, despite its allure of discovery and connection, raises profound concerns about the construction of identity, the perpetuation of biases, and the potential misuse of sensitive data in our quest for understanding our past.
At a time when state funding for public goods, such as universities, schools, libraries, archives, and other memory institutions is in decline. In the US, private corporations are providing products, services, and financing on their behalf. With these trade-offs comes an exercising of greater control over the information, which is deeply consequential for those who are already systematically oppressed. p. 123.
Today's journey through Ancestry.com opened my eyes to a whole new dimension of understanding cultural heritage. As a trained anthropologist, I've learned that questioning, dissecting, and critically examining different platforms and resources are crucial for the quest for the truth.
Noble explains that search algorithms are built on metadata that carries biases, and understanding of oppression in organizational systems is nothing new to the field of library science, where discussions about the racism of Library of Congress subject headings. Headings is Decadasold Knowlton, 2005, but, unfortunately, no less pressing today. The past decade has seen the archives field grappling with how to undo years of oppressive collecting, description, and access policies. In contrast, for-profit companies such as Ancestry have little incentive to engage in a social justice analysis of services taught by outsourcing metadata creation to these companies. Archival institutions risk turning back the clock on inclusive practices that have taken years to develop and implement. In response to these displays of Confederate pride, in the spring of 2020, I posted slave schedules and census forms to the grave sites of enslavers, documenting their participation in slavery. Shortly after making these postings, my account was discontinued, and my posts were removed without explanation. Messages to find.ravi.com and Ancestry seeking an explanation for the cancellation of my account went unanswered. Their silence suggests that findagrave.com, and by extension, Ancestry, censors biographical information catering to the desires of those who use the site to promote the lost cause and deny the historical reality of slavery.
In the realm of Ancestry's exploration, these issues undergo a large societal challenge: the manipulation of historical narratives, reinforcement of racial stereotypes, and the commodification of personal and cultural histories, all at the expense of truth and exclusivity.
We need more intense attention on how these types of artificial intelligence, under the auspices of individual freedom to make choices, forestall the ability to see what kinds of choices we are making and the collective impact of these choices in reversing the decisive struggle for social, political, and economic equality. p. 167.
The idea that this information is being gatekeeping for the sake of profits, that doesn't sit right with me. That's why it's essential to spread the word and encourage a deeper dive into these discussions. So if you're eager to explore further, to understand the layers of history, culture, and identity in a way that's unbiased and open to all, then join us. Let's question, let's challenge, and let's seek understanding together. Share this to rally others who crave a deeper understanding of our past and our present. And don't forget to check out the insightful article that sparked our conversation today. Here's to embracing culture, travel, and adventure with eyes wide open and a heart hungry for knowledge.